Today's video is Chapter 6 review. So starting with 6.1, what size cup of coffee shown in the table has the lowest unit price? Unit price is going to be the smallest if we have the least cost per ounce. So we want to rewrite that as cost over ounce, and we want to have the smallest number. So our first one is $1.50 over 10. Dividing by 10, we move the decimal point over 1 to get 15 cents. Then we can write per ounce. Otherwise, that's over 1 ounce. Our next one is $2.64 over 24. In this, you'd want to use your calculator. So we break out our calculator of 264 divided by 24. And the resulting answer is 11. So we have 11 cents per ounce. Lastly, we have $3.60 for a 36 ounce to get 10. So they just cancel out right there. We're going to get 10 cents per ounce. Between 15, 11, and 10, 10 cents per ounce is the cheapest. So 36 ounce is least per lowest unit price. Next, we're on to writing each ratio in simplest form. We're first going to write 14 over 21 as a ratio. I see that they're both divisible by 7, so we divide both the top and bottom by 7 to get 2/3, which is our simplest form. Next, we have 15 seconds to 3 minutes, both of which are divisible by 3. We do not need a label on these, so we're going to have 5 over 1 is our final answer for our simplest form for that one. Slide 3. We're determining whether the ratios are equivalent. So first we have to write each as a ratio. I'm going to write 45 over 3. And I'm going to have 75 on top because I want students to match with students over 5. Now to see if these are equal, we're going to cross multiply. 5 times 45, we use a calculator to get 225. So I usually write that on the top left. Now 3 times 75, again using a calculator, I also get the same answer of 225. So since 225, these two numbers are equal here, then we do have equivalent ratio. So yes, they're equivalent. Next, we have 12 books over 21 magazines. We're going to see if that's equivalent to 15 books over 25 magazines. So we're going to cross multiply. 25 times 12 gets us 300. So going this way, we get 300. Then 21 times 15 gets us 315. So, since 300 does not equal 315, they are not equivalent. I just write not equiv for short. Now we're on to finding each unit rate. Now the difference between finding simplest form and finding unit rates are that unit rates, we're just trying to find one unit. So our denominator is going to be 1 for the unit rate. Where finding the simplest form might not necessarily have a denominator of 1. So I'm rewriting $9.60 over 6 bottles. So $9.60 divided by 6, 9.60 divided by 6, gets me 1.6. So that's $1.60 per bottle. And you do not need to have a denominator there. You just need to make sure you write both labels. I have bottles and dollars. Next one, my answer should have gallons per minute. I'm going to write 120 gallons, GAL for short, over 6 minutes. I do see that 6 times 2 equals 12, so 6 times 20 is going to be 120. So I have 20 in gallons per minute. And we're going to move on to number 5. Find the rate of change from the table. Typically when we're doing these, time is going to be our bottom, because typically we'd have miles per hour. In this case we have degrees per hour, as 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 10 o'clock are all hours. And as I saw, we're actually going up by 3 each time. Whereas on the right, we're going from 0 degrees to 8 degrees to 16 degrees to 24. So that is counting by 8s. So just from that, I know my answer is going to have temperatures on top because it's a Y. So I have 8 over 3. But for some math, we need to take 2 points. So we're going to take 4 o'clock being 8 degrees. Remember, 4 is on bottom, so we got 4 minus 1, since they're just flat up 0 hours, flat o'clocks. Then we'll just write them as 4 minus 1 over, and then we have 8 minus 0, gives us our answer right there. 8 minus 0 is 8, 4 minus 1 equals 3. And we also like to have a label on these, but it's not needed. 1/3 is the rate of change, but I'm going to put degrees Fahrenheit per hour. On to number 6, we have find the slope from the graph and explain what it means. So as we see on the bottom, we're going to have hours, and on the top we're going to have miles. So right now I already know my label is going to be miles per hour. But now I need to find my points. I have a point at 8.2 for finding slope. Let's see, we're going over 2. So remember, slope equals rise over run. So that means we're taking the change in y over the change in x. So I went over 2 as my run, so I got 2 on bottom, and now I'm going up. I'm going from 8 to 16, which is an increase of 8. So 8 over 2 is going to simplify into 4, and 4 miles per hour is my answer. So that means that it was 4 miles per hour. You can write out the label a little more explicitly when it does ask for explain. On to conversions here. This is 6.4 we're looking at. We're completing 3 yards equals blank feet. So we have to write 3 yards times, we're looking for feet. So feet's going to be on top, yard's going to be on bottom to cancel. So we have to know how many feet are there in a yard. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. So we are multiplying by 3. 3 times 3 will give us 9 feet. So 3 yards is 9 feet. Yep, that makes sense. On to the next one. We have 6 cups times cups in a pint. We're looking for the number of pints. There's actually 2 cups in every pint. So our cups will cancel, dividing both by 2. Since they're even, 6 will go to 3, and 2 will become 1. To have 3 pints will be our answer. Lastly, we have 72 ounces. And we're looking for pounds. So pounds on top, ounces on bottom. In this one, we have 16 ounces per pound. If you're having trouble knowing how I'm getting these 16 ounces per pound, they're on a conversion table in chapter 6.4 as well as in your 6.4 notes. 16 does go into 72, doesn't go into 72 evenly, pardon me, because 16 times 2 is 32. 32 goes into 64. So we still can divide though. I see we can divide by 8 to get 9 on top, 2 on bottom. So then I have 9/2, which turns into 4.5 pounds. And you can write that as 4.5 or 4 and 1/2. Either way is acceptable. Number 8, now we're doing the same thing we just did, but with the metric system. So now, on this top one, we're going 0.35 kilometers to meters. So, just to rewrite the problem out, kilometers to meters, I see we have our abbreviation up here of kicked her duck under daddy cement mixer. You see where I'm going. So, kicked her duck under daddy cement mixer. So, 35.35 kilometers, I'm here with my K, and I'm going to meters. Meters is actually under units, because units is meters, liters, and grams. So I'm going 1, 2, 3 jumps to the right. My decimal point's going to make those same jumps. So 1, 2, 3 to the right. So we're going to fill in a 0 with my blank to get 350 meters. We're going to do the same thing with the bottom here, but we have 512 milligrams, and we're going to grams. So milligrams is way here on the right, and so we're trying to go to grams. So 1, 2, 3, those grams is right there. So we went 3 to the left with our decimal point. So I'm going to take my decimal point down here, 1, 2, 3 to the left. I'm going to get 0.5124 grams. This will be our answer unless they ask us to round. If they ask us to round to the nearest hundredth, we would have to look at this 2, and since 2 is less than 5, we would round down to 0.51, but we don't have instructions to round. Determine if the quantities in each pair are proportional. So we have 36 hot dogs for 12 people. We'll write P on the bottom for people. We'll write H on the top for hot dogs. We're going to see if this is equivalent to 16 hot dogs for 47 people. Now, just looking at this right now, I can tell you it is not equivalent because in the first example we have more hot dogs than people. In the second example we have more people than hot dogs. If we have to multiply it out here, 16 times 12 is 192. And 192 is less than, if we rounded this off, 40 times 30 is going to give us over 1,000. So this is going to be over 1,000. So we just can say right off the bat, not equivalent. Next one we have 15 players for 3 teams, and that's what I'm writing right down. 15p for players over 3 teams. Is that equivalent to 38 players for 7 teams? Cross multiply. 7 times 15 is going to get us 70 plus 35 will get us 105 on my left, and 3 times 38 is going to get us 90 plus 18 is going to get us 108. Since these are not equal, not 108, it's 114. Check that out. 3 times 38 and 114. So 114 is not equal to 105. On to 10, solve each proportion. So again, we're going to use our cross multiplying. Rewriting the problem out, cross multiply like this. So 5 times x is going to give me 5x, and 12 times 8 is going to give me 96. Now I need to divide because I need to get just one x. X equals 96 fifths is going to give me 19 and 1/5. Because 5 goes into 96 19 times with 1 remaining. On the next one I have 3 over d equals 12 times 20. And already I'm showing you the x for cross multiplication. 20 times 3 gives us 60, and d times 12 gives us 12d. Dividing each by 12, we're going to get d equals to 5. Suppose you are making a scale drawing. Find the length of each object on a scale drawing with the given scale, then find the scale factor. So we have a field 30 feet long, but first we're going to write down the scale. I got 1 inch over 5 feet. And we're looking for a field that's 30 feet long, and how many inches is that? Now right here I see the shortcut that we can multiply by 6 on the bottom to get 5 to 30, so we can multiply by 6 on the top. 1 times 6 is going to get us x equals 6 inches. Otherwise we would cross multiply to get 30 equals 5x. Dividing by 5 on both sides, we will also find that x equals 6. So we just double checked our work. 6 inches. Scale factor means we're going to have to change this feet in our rate to inches. So 5 feet times 12 inches in a foot get to 60 inches. So now I have 1 over 60 inches. And my inches canceled to get me a scale factor of 1/60th. On a blueprint, a scale is 1 inch equals 8 feet. Find the actual dimensions of a living room that is 2 inches by 3 inches. So what we're doing is we have 1 inch equals 8 feet, and I'm actually going to write that twice because I'm looking for how much 2 inches is and how much 3 inches is. On the bottom, x feet. This one we see we're multiplying by 2 on the top, so we're multiplying by 2 on the bottom. On the top one we're multiplying by 3, so multiply by 3 on the bottom and we get 24 feet on top and we get 16 feet on bottom. So if we match it up just how they gave it to us, 2 by 3, we're going to have 16 feet by 24 feet. Now we're writing each percent as a fraction in simplest form. Right away when we see percent, we should know that this is over 100. And so we're going to switch this into a fraction form. So it already looks like a fraction, but since we have a decimal, we're going to switch it to 12.5 equals 25 halves. We're still divided by 100, and now we're going to rewrite it as long form, 25 half divided by 100. 24 half, we're switching to multiplication now by flipping it over. And our 100 will become 4 since our 25 is divisible by 25 and our 100 is divisible by 5. We then get 1 times 1 over 2 times 4 is 1/8. 32.5% also becomes 32.5%. 2 times 32 is 64 because we want an improper fraction. So now we have 65 halves percent, which turns into 65 halves divided by 100. And then we can change that divided by 100 into multiplication of 1 over 100, dividing both the top and the bottom by 5. I've got 13 times 1 equals 13 over 2 times 20, and my answer is 13/40th. Lastly, we're writing each fraction as a percent. So we have to write 5/9 as a percent, but what we need to do is 5 divided by 9. So getting the calculators out, we'll do 5 divided by 9 to get 0.55555. So this is going to get us 0.55555 ... And I wrote out 5 5s because we are multiplying this by 100 to get it into a percent. So multiplying by 100, I scoot my decimal to the right 2 to get 55.555%. And again, I wrote out 3 decimal points there because we're rounding to the nearest hundredths. So we're rounding to the 5 I underline, and so we're using that thousandth. Since that thousandth is 5, 5 is equal to 5, so we're going to round up. So our final percent is 55.56%. So this second 5 went up. Lastly, we have 3 divided by 11, or 3/11th, either way. So we'll do this on the calculator. 3 divided by 11 gives us 0.27 repeating. So this equals 0.27272, and again going 5 digits because we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, and we're multiplying by 100. Scooting our decimal point over, I have 27.272. Since this last 2 is less than 5, we are going to round it down to 27.27. So 27.27% is our final answer. Again, feel free to check out the quizzes online because as the test coming up, that's going to be a great review for you.